What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. On this segment, we're going to go over Yair Rodriguez versus Brian Ortega. This one is supposed to take place. It's a great fight. Let's get into it. All right, starting with Yair Rodriguez, 29 years old, 5'11", 71-inch reach, black belt in Taekwondo, big for the division, mixed martial arts record, 13-3, won no contest. 4 wins via KO TKO, 3 wins via submission. Showing well-roundedness, that's awesome. Rodriguez lost his last fight against Max Holloway. That was an awesome fight. He definitely showed what he was made of. Yair definitely has a lot of heart. Before that, he defeated Little Heathen Jeremy Stevens. And before that fight, he defeated the Korean Zombie via sensational knockout. It was a crazy elbow. All right, talking about Yair Rodriguez's style, super creative on the feet, very free-flowing. He can be technical, but like I said, he's very loose. Awesome kicks, like some of the best kicks in the UFC. He's up there. His boxing is coming along. He's got great hands, super tough, durable. I think Yair Rodriguez has a great chin. His wrestling is coming along. We've seen that in fights. So props to him for working on his grappling and wrestling. Great movement, great footwork, fast, explosive, knockout power. And he's tough. Yair Rodriguez, very tough. Moving on, Brian Ortega, 31 years old, 5'9", 69-inch reach. High level first degree black belt under Henner Gracie. Mixed martial arts record, 15 wins, 2 losses, won no contest. 3 wins via knockout, 7 wins via submission. No surprise there. He is a phenom on the mat. Mr. Ortega lost his last fight against Alexander Volkanovski. That was a crazy fight. There were a couple of instances where he had Volkanovski in serious trouble. If I recall, I think it was like 2 submission attempts. I don't know if it was 2 guillotine chokes, but that's pretty much Ortega's specialty. And if that was anybody else but Volkanovski, they would have got choked to sleep. They would have got tapped, but Volkanovski straight up gutted that out. Like, it wasn't even like technique. Like, there was some technique involved. Like, Volkanovski was creating space so he could breathe and, you know, stop the blood choke. But he just, to me, that was just like heart, grit, and determination. Like, Volkanovski just refused to lose. So Ortega was like that close to beating Volkanovski, but he took a bad beating that fight. And similar to Yair Rodriguez, Ortega, he really showed what he's made of. Tough SOB, man. Before that Volkanovski loss, he defeated Korean Zombie. That was a really impressive win. It was impressive because Brian Ortega, and it's funny because there's Look in the Eyes Liddell. There's Motivated Pen, there's C-Level Kane, Free Kane, there's Blonde Brunson, and we got Bald Ortega. Yeah, that fight, I believe Ortega, he completely shaved his head. He was looking crazy out there. Definitely a different look for him. The dude was a beast in that fight. Like, his stand-up looked awesome. You could tell he's been working really hard on his boxing, and damn does it show. He's very dangerous standing as well now. Ortega lost to Max Holloway. If I remember, it was pretty one-sided. He took a whooping in that fight. But before that, he was like on a pretty good streak. The hype is real with Brian Ortega, man. Ortega's an elite fighter. He's really good. Talking about his style, you know, he used to be definitely more of just a submission fighter. You know, I wouldn't say one-dimensional, but when he first started, it was like close to one-dimensional, like a throwback guy. Like, he was an expert in a certain skill set, and you know what he was going to do, you know what he's good at, and you kind of couldn't stop it. Like, once he latched onto your neck, once he got a hold of that guillotine, which is, like, to me, his specialty, pretty much that's a wrap. But you know, as his career went on, he realized that he has to pick up, you know, more skills, specifically stand-up skill. And they say you learn more from losses than you do from wins. I definitely believe that. You know, even in life, like, doesn't have to do with martial arts and MMA. You know, when you fail at something, when you come up short, it tells you what you need to work on. If you're honest with yourself. If you're not honest with yourself, you're going to miss that window for improvement and just kind of be in denial. You know, you're going to think nothing's wrong. But if you're honest with yourself, that's an opportunity to get better. And that's what happened with Brian Ortega. You know, he lost a pretty one-sided fight to Max Holloway and is like, you know what? I got to fix this hole. And he did. So now he's to a point where he's a very competent striker and boxer, and he can knock you out on the feet. You don't want to take him down, because if you take him down, you're going to be in trouble there. You're at risk of being submitted. If you stay standing with him, he's at a point now where he can knock you out. So he's becoming very well-rounded. The next step is probably to really improve his wrestling, because you could dictate where you want the fight to go. You know, when a fighter has that ability, they go a long way. Wrestling is so important in mixed martial arts, because if like you're losing the stand-up, you know, you could take the fight to the mat. You could buy yourself some time, or if you're really good on the mat, you could take the fight to where you're going to excel at and be more dominant in the ground. Vice versa, you know, if a guy's better than you on the ground and you have good wrestling, you can keep it standing. So yeah, anyway, back to Ortega's fight style. He's awesome. He could possibly be champion one day. We'll see, but as long as Volkanovski's on the throne, it's gonna be tough. All right, the matchup. How could this fight possibly play out? Well, in the pure stand-up department, since Yair Rodriguez is more of a pure striker, he has a longer background in that department. Definitely going to give the edge to Yair Rodriguez standing. And it's kind of like a mirror thing. Ortega has a grappling, you know, BJJ base. And he definitely, without a doubt, is going to have the edge in the grappling department. Where Yair could bridge the gap as far as like grappling is wrestling. You know, Yair might have better wrestling than Brian Ortega at this point. But when I talk about the stand-up, to me, there's a way bigger gap on the ground than there is standing. You know, I think Brian Ortega's to the point now where he can pretty much hang with anybody, and he's dangerous to anybody, including Yair Rodriguez. You know, Yair Rodriguez is very diverse. He's unpredictable. He's very creative standing, so he's gonna have more tools in his arsenal to stifle Ortega, you know, as far as like offensively. And sometimes when you have like a great offense and you're quirky and you're weird in your movements, you know, it's hard for a guy to get off on you. They can't like read you, so that kind of helps you out with defense as well. But yeah, the edge standing, I give it to Rodriguez just because he has more tools. He moves better. He's more diverse. He's not like as much of a traditional striker. Ortega kind of has more of a traditional stance and approach to striking. And Yair is just like I said, he's hard to read. He's like all over the place, you know, with that Taekwondo background. But on the mat, there's a bigger gap. If Brian Ortega manages to get this fight to the floor, Yair Rodriguez he's in trouble. He's in trouble. He should not spend too much time on the mat with Brian Ortega. You know, from what I've seen with Ortega, if he manages to get you against the cage, he tries to work takedowns from there. I seen him pull guard. You know, it's effective. It works for him. He jumps up and latches on with a guillotine choke, and it works for him. He's that good. So that's something that Yair and his team have to definitely watch out for. Like, don't get against the cage. Watch out for him jumping on guillotines and jumping guard. If I was Yair's team, I would, you know, have him try to keep it in the center of the cage. Use long range attacks. Definitely use a lot of kicks because he's going to be better at kicking than Ortega. And it's a good, like, range attack. Knocking out Ortega, I don't know. That dude's super durable. So maybe Yair could, like, win a unanimous decision. You know, I'll point him. I'll strike him from the outside. Not sure if he can knock out Brian Ortega. Anything's possible. Avoid the ground. On Brian Ortega's end, I feel like he's going to have to close the distance on Yair, and it might not be easy, you know, with Yair's movement and his kicks and his speed. But Brian Ortega right now, he's got pretty solid boxing, and you have to get within boxing range for it to be effective. So that's what he has to deal with. Good thing he has a great chin, because maybe he's going to have to eat a few to get inside on Yair and like kind of box him in to get off on him. If the opportunity presents itself, of course, like I said, Ortega's MO, he could jump guard, he could jump on a guillotine choke. So clinching with Brian, I don't know if that's a good idea for Yair. He should just like avoid grappling altogether. But that's something that Brian Ortega could exploit, you know? If you're in clinching range to dirty box, you have your hands on them and you can make something happen in the grappling department. Toughness and durability, both these guys are super tough. You know, maybe I give the pure durability, you know, ability to take damage to Ortega, like, you know, edges it out, because Yair is super tough and durable himself. Who do I think is going to win this fight ultimately? It's really close fight. I could hardly pick a winner. It's very close. I'm going to go with maybe Yair Rodriguez 55-45, just outpointing Ortega, being quicker to the draw. I think Yair, with his wrestling, I think he could keep it on the feet and avoid the submission grappling BJJ game of Ortega. And like I said, just outstrike him on the feet with his speed, with his diversity, with his movement. If Yair fights dumb and he gets into a brawl with Brian, he's going to give Ortega a greater chance of winning standing. And we all saw Brian can knock you out. But final pick, guys, I'm going to go Yair Rodriguez. Not a super confident pick, but 55-45. You guys let me know in the comment section who takes this fight and why. If you guys enjoy the content, first time at the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button, like and share, as it helps the channel grow. Helps get the channel on the algorithm. Appreciate that. I'll catch you guys in the next segment. After this one goes down, we'll come back and talk about it as usual. Until then, you guys take care, stay safe. Later.